So we're with Chad Casey today from Casey Corporate Transportation in Atlanta. Nice to have you on, Chad.
Thank you, Tim.
So I wanted to talk to you a little bit about your company. Why don't you share with our viewers your company name, how many cars you have in your fleet, anything else you'd like us to know, how long you've been in business? Share a little bit about Chad.
Well, as you said, it's Casey Corporate Transportation in Atlanta, based there for 15 years. We do nationwide work. We're veteran-owned small business. Very proud of that. My Navy background. So we're the Atlanta airport. We're based right there outside the front door, so we could be at the airport in 5 minutes. So it's a great place. I love to showcase Atlanta, the southern hospitality, I call it. So I'm born and raised there, and I like to show off my city.
So what made you get into the limo business 15 years ago? How did that happen?
I had a pizza restaurant, which I absolutely hated. You hear the horror stories of restaurants and all that comes with it, and it's so true, and I should have listened. But I had a friend from high school I spoke with who had a limo, and he told me about the business and whatnot. I sold my restaurant, bought a car, and 15 years later, I still love what I do.
That's fantastic. And, you know, you talked about being on the airport doorsteps. Around the country, airport authorities and limo operators tend to clash on a regular basis over permits, over permitting fees, over parking areas. What's the climate with the airport in Atlanta and working with limousine operators in the Atlanta area?
We have a good working relationship with them. There are state legislations that restrict them on what they can charge us per our fees or whatnot, but I helped create the Greater Atlanta Limousine Association and was on the board, and while on the board, we'd meet monthly with the airport, and we still do if you're on that committee. So, and once a month we meet with them and tell them what the issues are. They tell us what's going to happen with the airport so we can prepare it. So Atlanta, they can't build fast enough. They're always doing construction, and so how we get in and out always changes. Where we park is about to change. So they work well with us and try to keep us up to date on what's going on so we can provide the best service to our clients.
Great. And you mentioned being a part of your association there. Atlanta is unique in the fact that you have a regional association. How important is it to you as an operator to be a member of that association? Why do you have membership in it?
That's been probably the biggest growth for me and my company, was getting into that association, finding a mentor, and then just getting the affiliate work from the locals. You know, everybody comes to these shows and tries to get national affiliates, but if you get into your local affiliate, find a mentor, somebody that you can go have lunch with on a regular basis, learn from somebody that's been in the business for 20, 30 years, but you'll also get the work from it. I mean, not one company can provide work in any city, I don't care who you are, and Atlanta's one of the top convention centers, so with all the big conventions, there's always work to be passed around, and I get a tremendous amount of affiliate work from my local partners.
So you would say that the members of the association are more likely to farm out a job and farm in jobs to members only?
Yes. So when we created the association, we made strict guidelines on what it would be to be a member, and it was all being lawful with, or I guess legal with the state. You had the right permits, insurance, and everything. So if you're a member of GALA, we know you've been vetted because you're a member of GALA. So we always said, you know, we try to keep work, if you do have to farm it out to somebody that's in GALA and support the local association.
And you also mentioned that when you joined that you were looking for a mentor. And I happen to know that you have been involved for the past 2 years in a focus group that involves other operators of similar size. How has that affected your business, being able to meet with other operators your size on a quarterly basis to discuss operational issues? Would you say that's beneficial?
That's been very beneficial. So, because they're going through the same problem, even though they're in a different city, they're going through the same issues we have, whether it's hiring the proper staff, getting the procedures in place, you know, to go from a driver, chauffeur behind the wheel to actually running a company is a big challenge, you know. I love logistically what we do, but being a business owner is a different mindset, and most people go to college or universities for that. We go to mentorships or to the groups that you're saying, you know, the peer groups. So you learn from each other, and I don't think if it wasn't for the mentorships and the sharing of ideas that this community of limo operators has, I probably still wouldn't be in business, because you learn not to make the mistakes that somebody else has already made. And they could be heavy financial burdens So
Sure. I know all too well.
yeah, I mean, oh, I'm in a limo company. Well, let me go buy a motor coach because that's what. But if you don't have that business, that's a big expense to go buy, or even if it's just a stretch limousine or something. So if you learn from somebody that's made that mistake and say, look, this is the proper way to do it, and they tell you why it's the proper way to do it, it's very helpful to somebody that's just starting out in the industry.
And you mentioned the word challenges a minute ago, and we don't have to look that far back to the fact that your city hosted the Super Bowl for 2019. I myself have only been involved in a large operation the magnitude of the Oscars, and I would imagine that the Super Bowl is probably 5 to 10 times bigger than that. What type of logistical challenges did you experience during the Super Bowl?
It was all last minute for my company. I mean, we performed well. We were able to cover it, but it was just all last minute. So, your chauffeurs are like, where's my work? Where's my work? And the next thing you know, they're working 48 hours straight or to do a charter or whatnot. So it'd be nice, for whatever reason, people get their hotel rooms, their planes, their tickets to the game, but they don't think about the actual transportation till the very last day. I mean, on game day, we booked two 10-hour charters at 5 o'clock in the afternoon when the game starts at 6:30. How do you prepare for that? Hopefully, and luckily, we had the vehicles available. But we made mistakes in renting cars and hotel rooms, so we can learn from that. That was our first big event. Next year, we have the NCAA championship. So hopefully we'll be better prepared when that comes around. So
you're saying that you rented cars in anticipation of orders coming in that didn't materialize?
Correct.
Okay. And the hotel rooms, was that in anticipation of drivers coming from out of town?
Correct.
Okay.
So we had a lot of partners in the region that we work with, and we thought we'd have the business, and they were willing to come. But, I told them, I said, I'm not booking you until I have the actual booking. And so we went ahead and got the rooms. I got a great rate, so I went ahead and booked it especially. But it was non-cancelable. But it worked out well because we're right there by the airport. I mean, it was 100 yards from our office. So with the hours that we worked, we basically just had our office staff stay at the hotel. So it worked out very well.
Great.
But it was a learning experience.
Yeah. Would you say the majority of the work that you did for the Super Bowl was direct orders or affiliate inbound?
One was, our biggest client was an affiliate recommendation. They didn't want to just handle it. They passed off their client to us, and we handled it. Then the rest of it was affiliate work. So I didn't market. I've learned that was another thing where I should have marketed and started advertising a lot sooner than I did. So like when the NCAA championship comes around in 12 months, I'm going to start marketing a lot quicker. So to try to get the groups to DMCs and have work planned out so I can plan my operations accordingly, instead of doing all last minute.
Great. I have one last thing to talk to you about, and that is the breaking news that occurred here at the ILCT show this year. Obviously, it's been announced that there's going to be 2 limo shows in Las Vegas in 2020 within relatively a 2-week period of time. How does that affect you as an operator and your staffing and your travel expenses?
You have to make a decision. I've always thought there should only be 2 shows, maybe one out west and one out east. And I don't understand why people in the industry can't work together and say, all right, you have this show, you have this show. I won't be going to both of them. It's just not financially smart, and time-wise, I can't be that away from work for that long, basically. So I'll choose which one I think would be the best for my company and go to that one. So I pick and choose which shows to go to. The executive retreats, there's multiple of those, so you have to choose which one to go to. There's a lot to choose from, to learn from, but you have to decide which one is best for your company.
Sure. Chad Casey, KC Corporate Transportation, thank you very much for being on. We appreciate your time.
Thank you, Jim.